Iran, you said a few minutes ago that the U.S. and Israel share the same goal, preventing Iran from having a nuclear weapon. Yet, apparently, there's a big difference brewing with Israel on this negotiating strategy right now. Netanyahu said today that this evolving deal would be an historic mistake. To what extent are you concerned that you've got a split with Israel making here?
Look, there is no daylight between Israel and the United States, between the President and the Prime Minister, when it comes to the objective of preventing Iran from acquiring a nuclear weapon. And all options remain on the table to achieve this objective. We've made that clear all along. We now, because of the effectiveness of the sanctions regime that this administration helped put in place and led the way in putting in place, an opportunity to explore whether or not the leadership in Tehran is serious about living up to its international obligations under the Non-Proliferation Treaty, to the IAEA, and to the United Nations Security Council. And it is absolutely the right approach, in our view, to test whether or not they're serious, and to do that in a careful way that would have as its first step an agreement to, potentially, if there is an agreement, to halt all advancement rather, on Iran's nuclear program, and to potentially roll it back, and in exchange for that to allow for some temporary moderate relief, but reversible relief. And then we would explore whether or not, in a verifiable, transparent, and meaningful way, Iran was willing to assure the international community that it has forsaken its nuclear weapons program. And we believe, and the reason to do that is because we believe, as we've said all along, that the best way to ensure that Iran does not acquire a nuclear weapon is to do it diplomatically through Iran's agreement and in a way that is verifiable and transparent, because alternative means of addressing this program are not as effective necessarily, certainly not for the longer term.
You spoke of the idea of buying time. What's to prevent Iran from playing for time during this phased-in process that appears to be playing out here?
Well, look, the point I made earlier is that the first step would address Iran's most advanced nuclear activities, increase transparency so Iran will not be able to use the cover of talks to advance its program, and thereby create time and space as we negotiate a comprehensive agreement. It would stop Iran from making progress, from advancing its nuclear program for the first time in nearly a decade. But your question's a good one because it goes to the heart of verification here, and our insistence that we take steps that are concrete and that actions are concrete and they're not just promises. So any step we took would have to be verifiable.
Does the administration trust Iran? Does it trust the leadership on the other side of the table right now?
We have a long history of mistrust here and a reason to be highly skeptical. We are pursuing U.S. national security interests when we engage in substantive and serious negotiations through the P5+1. We do it in a way that makes clear that any progress we make has to be verifiable and transparent. Because our goal and our objective is to prevent Iran from acquiring a nuclear weapon, and there is unity within the P5+1 on both the objective and the process that we're pursuing at this time. See.